Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Light back with another YouTube video, and in today's video we're doing What If Episode 5, What If Zombies Were Here on the channel. So, yeah, another week, another episode of What If. Just a quick spoiler warning, spoilers for episode number 5 of What If. Uh, yeah, anyways, so let's get into this. So the question of the week was technically not even a question, it's just like, what if zombies? That's what it said as the title, so yeah. It's not too much of a question, but I mean, yeah, it's definitely very interesting. And today was a highly anticipated episode of What If. A lot of people are hyped about it. I was hyped about it too. It's a zombies episode, and it did deliver. I think it did. It was a really good episode, really enjoyable. Um, yeah. So, anyways, let's get into it. So yeah, what if episode 5 was again a very enjoyable, awesome episode. I did like it a lot, and it of course takes I think it takes a little bit of inspiration from the comics and everything too. So I think that's pretty cool. Uh, Again, a highly anticipated episode, just because the zombies and stuff. Personally to me, I did enjoy the comic book and everything, and I'm interested to see if they could do a part 2 to this too as well. And this did a lot of things. So first of all, let's discuss how the zombies were originally created. So actually, this does take place during the events of like Infinity War ish, like a little bit before it. I would say like a bit Black Widow time and stuff like that. It takes place when in when Pym goes back to basically save Hope Van Dyne from the quantum realm. She's actually infected with a quantum virus. I think that's what they call it, and basically she affects Hank, and then they affect the whole place. And then guess what? The Avengers try to stop them, but of course they get bitten and eaten, and yeah, basically screwed. So a bunch of our Marvel heroes are now infected with the zombie virus, with a few that are surviving here. Different characters, so that's pretty interesting, I must say. Uh, a bunch of characters died though, some sad deaths. Uh, I just want to start off by saying this too. It did not disappoint personally. I thought the violence was pretty good. I mean, if you're making like a what if zombies thing, definitely you gotta have some violence in there and everything. And I must say, this was probably one of the darkest Marvel things I've probably ever seen. It was very, very, very dark in my opinion. Like the zombies and everything. Like you even saw like heads getting chopped off. Uh, Bucky killed Captain America. I don't even know if he's killed, but I mean he chopped Captain America in half. There's even a scene where the Wasp was inside Sharon Carter and literally exploded her. So there's definitely a lot of violence and stuff like that. Of course, kids can watch it and everything, but I mean, it definitely had a lot more violence than a typical Marvel thing or an typical MCU thing, I must say. So that's interesting to note as well. I thought the violence is much needed and everything. Uh, just a few I mean, the violence is a little bit toned down than say the comics, because as a person who read the comics, there is quite a little bit of reference to the comics and stuff too, as I noticed. Uh, Especially with the sense like the thing with Black Panther, for example, he was getting his limbs were getting chopped off and he's being eaten. So that's actually like something that happens in the comics. Uh, in Marvel Zombies 1, where Black Panther's basically getting his limbs chopped off to be eaten by Ant-Man at the time. So it was interesting to see that happen as kind of like a reference to the comics. Uh, but anyways, that was definitely an interesting episode. I did like the whole like survivalness, and like also I did like also like the chances of seeing like who would survive this, who wouldn't, just because it was very much a mystery. Like you didn't know who was gonna survive, who was gonna die. Like it didn't overly surprise me that at the end it was like down to three members basically: Black Panther, Spider Man, and kind of Ant Man. So that was interesting, but I mean, I guess Bucky could be still alive too, so I wouldn't be surprised kind of Bucky came back if they ever did a part two. But yeah, we also saw like how this kind of affected Infinity War with like when originally Hulk crashed back into Earth. Uh, when Hulk crashed back into Earth, pretty much he he was greeted by, of course, Skull Obsidian and Ebony Maw, and then they both were eaten by Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and Wong. So that was interesting to see that happen. And I definitely have a lot of things that I'm kind of thinking about for this thing. Maybe if they do a part two, because there's still some Marvel heroes you kind of don't know what's happening with. For example, Thor. Thor was probably in space at the time, so he wouldn't really been affected. Maybe the Guardians easily they probably wouldn't be. Uh, Captain Marvel, I think those characters wouldn't be really eaten yet. So that's interesting to note as well. Yeah, and I'm curious to see what happens. Of course, at the end of the episode, we saw Thanos actually collected a bunch of the Infinity Gems still, or the Infinity Stones, sorry. And I think he was in Wakanda. So, but he's a zombified version of him, and these last remaining three have the Mind Stone because Vision took it out of his own head. Uh, so that's interesting to note as well. Again, like a bit of a darker scene. I found it really dark when we figured out what was wrong with Vision. Like Vision wasn't killing Wanda and was basically luring people to their death and did that to T'Challa. That was just insane. But I never would have expected Vision to do that. But I mean, I guess it's like, yeah, why did they do that? Another thing that looks like it was wiped out was probably like the whole Civil War thing. It looks like it was stopped because probably because this whole event was happening. So that was interesting to note. As like all the Avengers were together and they're fighting side by side. So it was interesting to see that happen. Uh, yeah, but anyways, that's pretty much it. Uh, actually, one more thing too. I did enjoy too. Uh, the voice acting. I think Chadwick Boseman actually voiced him again, but I'm pretty sure they used some of his lines from previous movies and stuff. I don't know if he was able to finish it before he sadly passed away, but I did notice like a few lines from like Black Panther and stuff, so I'm not too sure if they used that from that or it's just a coincidence. But I mean, yeah. Another thing too is I believe Josh Keaton came back to play Spider-Man, which is really interesting. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't searched it up, but I think it was rumored originally, and that did sound like him. So I'm thinking that he did come back, which is awesome because he played a lot of people's childhood in the sense that he played the Spectacular Spider-Man back in like 2008, 2009. So that was interesting to see as well. He's known for playing Spider-Man, so that was interesting. Uh, yeah, and he actually voiced Captain America too, which is interesting. It's Steve Rogers, so that was interesting to see as well. But of course, Josh Keaton's interesting to see as Spider-Man. I hope this honestly. I hope it gets a part two. I think it much needs that. Hopefully, maybe even in season two, maybe even like this season. But I don't think it's good. I don't think it's gonna happen this season. But I hope it's next season, just because it was just awesome, and they need to make another one because I think there's still some more story to tell and stuff like that. So I'm hoping maybe they could do another one. Uh, anyways, that's pretty much it though. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.